things cost. So before if we go market, we used to buy short mudu of corn. That time is 300, but now it's 1,000. If we bought it from there, carry and come market to sell, the thing dey bring us problem. Even market man no dey. If we carry and come, if you come tell person say, if you buy from market 900, if you come tell person say 1,000, they go come on with your market. To manage and chop na problem. To get onions, get money buy onions or soup na problem. To manage and survive with our children, maybe it's one issue. But if we eat one day, it go do you. Children are so they cry for us for house.
We are suffering very much, plenty. Meanwhile, because the fuel too cost. So as the fuel too cost, and the work man no dey for us. To manage life man they had us. If it to chop man, a problem. So me and my advising my government try to do something about it.
The fact is that the removal of the fuel subsidy has brought a lot of hardship on everybody, all the citizens of Nigeria. If you talk about just one aspect, on our own Okada area, it has not been very easy, not funny at all. The fuel has gone up to the extent that we are even buying a liter 715 naira. How many will you buy? And how many will you pick to cover up? So, and it has now translated into what we see today in the price of things at the market. It's really high-rocketed everything. Okay. We have now adopted another style.
Okay.
If you are able to eat once, very late, you drink a lot of water. In my family now, we don't ask children after eating, are you okay? No. Have you eaten? Yes. Eating is better than are you satisfied? If you say are you satisfied, you are looking for trouble. What if the child says he's not satisfied, you have nothing else to give the person? What happens? So has the child eaten? Yes. Let him go and drink more water to cover up. What is happening now? And we are coping.
We are finding it difficult to survive now because before we have been buying akpu 3,500, but now as fuel cost now, we buy akpu at a rate of 10,500. So we are finding it difficult to survive now. It's very, very difficult. Okay. Very, very difficult. Credit now, not for our body now. Okay. Collect from personal, we say akpu, we carry personal, we say man, we chop the money. You know they feed me the money, honestly.
Everything is now cost. See, as they say this one is 100 naira because. And if you buy, even as you buy the thing, you know see something inside because today has no day easy for us now. We can't sit down for market, nothing there is for market. And if you buy something today, if you sell it, if tomorrow if you go, they know that I go still buy the money where I sell. You know, every the one I will go buy the other one again. I go still find no money add if I will go market go buy something. I want to make everything the cost for market. I will not know how to take it. Even like this egusi before they say 250, 200. Now it's 400 for.
Sometimes my mother used to cook in the day thrice, but now we used to cook just in the day. If not 1 yam, 2 we used to manage because of the fuel subsidy. Before mudu of guinea corn was 300, but now they'll be telling you price of 800 because of the fuel subsidy. So that's why we are managing our country, Nigeria.
When fuel subsidy was removed, a lot of prices of food, prices of commodity in the market rise up, and most of us who have not been working with government, even those who have been working with government, salary was not increased. So they have also issue. We contractors, we also have problem because when the fuel subsidy was removed, the prices of things go up and people were not working. You can see, you can testify. Unlike that time, how much they were selling cement. Now, how much is the price of cement? So a lot of things, when it goes up, people were not working. So to feed with 3 square meals becomes a problem.
Market now. This condition where if you go market, you buy things. You no go free go market because of transport. If you buy things for market, you no go free buy plenty. Even first when you buy the thing when you buy small like this, people back like this now. So enter motor, now it cost. You go pay money, like a animal food. No rich animal, it's 2,000, 1,500. It's carry person to do animal. So I know the fee go market now. Now for house here, me with my children, I don't go there for myself like this. We there with connection. See my market man no dey now.
Hello, it's the Bridge Show making a debut on this platform. The Bridge Show is a North Central perspective to our existence and realities as Nigerians. Now we're looking at what is going on today with the dollar rising and rising and rising. And we're wondering, how are Nigerians surviving in the face of the removal of fuel subsidy and the effect it's had on the citizens? Now, I want to look at it from the North Central perspective, how we're coping, how we can cope, and is there really any future for us as Nigerians living in the North Central? And of course, I have beautiful ladies here with me to run this show. So this show is going to be coming to you from time to time, and the hosts is going to change from time to time. But today, we have on the show, from my far left, is Dorothy Abeliga. Dorothy, say hello.
Thank you. Hello.
And Erima Oko.
Pleasure being here.
So my name is Omwani Ulegete. We have a good representation of Nigeria right here, or the North Central. They are professionals in their own right. She's a media person, a journalist. She is a lawyer, also trained journalist. I am a lawyer and trained journalist as well. So we're going to go around the issues, but let's start with how are we surviving? What is your take? How are you? Let me just ask you a very personal question. How are you actually surviving in this economy today? How are you coping?
I'll say I'm surviving against all odds. It's like, a jungle out here. It's like survival of the fittest, the strongest, the smartest. That's how most Nigerians, and I believe I'm speaking for most Nigerians, because that is what is on the ground now. Survival of the fittest.
Dorothy, how are you surviving?
I would say in Nigeria, basically, if you are not a hustler, you are not a Nigerian. And as a North Central person, I would say times are hard, but they say when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Yeah.
So if we sit and lament the state of the nation, especially here in North Central, we don't have much. There are other places, they have seaports, they have international airports, and we are still in the same country, and they are surviving. So I would say for us here in the North Central, especially here in Benue, we are tagging along, I would say.
Tagging along, sadly so. I mean, it's sad to hear that in Nigeria, what we're doing is simply tagging along. I really don't think that should be anything that anybody would want to say or look forward to, as realistic as that sounds. So let's look at what the challenges are, because we're here to look for solutions. But in looking for solutions, you have to look at the challenges that we have. You mentioned something about seaports. Is there any other thing that you think is the issues that bother the North Central in terms of developmental issues?
Well, the way I look at it is, first and foremost, education is an issue that is yet to be tackled in the North Central. Because if you see the indices of educational provisions in the North Central is very, very poor compared to some other states, especially where it concerns the girl child or female stroke male educational gap. So I'll say education is a very crucial issue in in economic disparity and economic growth or indices in the North Central.
Yeah, apart from education, what else?
I would say industries. You know, we especially here in Benue, we are an agrarian society. We are basically farmers. So there should be inputs. You know, we have, if you come to oranges, we have more than 10 species of oranges here. Mangoes, we have different types. We have, if you name them,
Let's name them.
So in other words, you're talking about agricultural produce.
Produce, yes. We have agricultural produce here, especially we have mangoes. We have mangoes. You have Peter. You have Julie. You have Hindi. You have John. There's one called Mommy. There is one called no, some beer
Kerosene
traditional
mango.
name kerosene mango. They have.
You're even
different
talking
kinds
of mangoes.
names.
There are oranges, species of
yeah,
oranges in
specifically,
Benue. In Benue, especially.
So
I think Benue is a food basket
it's a
of the
food
of the
basket
of the nation.
yes.
But
we have a lot. We have seed, we have soya beans, we have yams, we have all these tubers, sweet potato. I learned that even sweet potato is now medicinal. They use it for calming acidity in the stomach and things like that. You know, so but there are no machineries for processing
those produce,
or for preservation. You know, that like the cassava, during the harmattan you can dry it.
in short, Benue produces a lot of species of food items that can take care of the whole of Nigeria as a whole. We have a lot of food items. The soil is another aspect of Benue farming.
The Benue Valley,
Of the
North
Benue
Central
is very fertile. You plant anything, you plant in our soil grows very fast. You will not believe it. Cashews, cucumber, even onions are produced right now in Benue.
Even watermelon.
I
saw watermelon. They're saying they're
even garlic.
here.
They are trying to
There's
produce
so many
garlic
things,
as well. Yes. So
a friend
Benue,
of mine, a friend of mine told me that our terrain, the Benue Valley, you put a seed in the ground, you spit on it, and it will grow.
It will grow. Yes.
Yes.
How about tomatoes? I remember back in the day when we used to depend only on tomatoes that come from Jos.
Jos, yes.
You know, vegetables. As a matter of fact, there was a huge dependence on Plateau State for supplies. But today, let me also take us back to when we used to have that species that it was more acidic than normal. But then, about 3 years ago, every farming season we saw improvement. We just kept seeing improvement in the species of tomatoes that was coming from the rural area in Benue.
So the issue is not about the production. The issue is not about the farming.
Processing.
It's the processing.
And the preservation.
That is the issue right now. And the implements, like tractors, because we are still based on primitive method of farming right now. We use all those kind of implements. If there's a move towards cooperative farming methods, it will really help. Because if a community of farmers pull their resources...
Let's not go to the solutions. Let's X-ray. Let's dig into the problems first. Let's not jump into the solutions yet, because we're going to still come back.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I want us to look at the entire system and the problems there are. Now we've looked at some of the issues, what we have, farming, not being able to explore the products that we have, not being able to maximize processing of those products to keep them in the market and all that. How about culture? Are there any cultural issues that are militating against surviving in this economy? Cultural issues. Can we look at that? Like, for example, we know that women are a huge force, even in a population as the farming population as we have in Benue. But do they really have the resources?
We're talking about Benue, and this not just Benue. We're talking about the whole Benue Valley. In the past few years, we have been having issues of security, and these security issues, they come in the form of these terrorists that instill fear in the people, especially the farming community. And most, you are talking about women. Most of the people that are found on the farms are women.
Yeah.
And these terrorists, when they come, they dehumanize them, they rape them, they tear up the pregnant ones, remove their babies and place them. Nobody will want to face a situation like that. So I'm sure what we want to talk about the forces that are pulling back this our agricultural, the farming. We should really address the issue of security, because the women, because of the expansion, farms have been moving further and further away from residential areas.
Yeah.
In those days, we used to have houses and then farmlands around the houses. But now, you have to go for kilometers before you get a farmland. And these women that are usually found on these farms, when these terrorists come, they are the first people that they meet. And that, I'm sure, has instilled fear in them.
Yeah.
None of them wants to go to the farm when there is a fear of being raped or being killed or something like that.
So let's also
when you talk about culture, and you also mentioned women, I don't understand. Is it to do with the economic aspect of?
Yes, all that together. So women, like she agreed that women are among the most farmers in our area. Even if you go to Plateau State, you see that.
The same thing.
Yes,
Taraba, where most of the yams come from.
So I don't think I don't think culture has any negative.
Let me just land. So I'm looking at it from the perspective of women not being able to own lands to be part of this production process to the extent that would be able to be economically viable. Because there's always this question of women not being able to inherit land. Because in your father's house, it is the man that inherits. In your husband's house, you can only have a portion for your vegetables. But you will be doing the major, everything you farm. You can only get land by way of, not as an owner. Not by way of ownership. But so all that,
but they are still allowed to.
My mother has her own piece of land,
yes,
farmland.
Most of them do have land.
So if you are saying, it's not inheritance.
When you are talking of inheritance,
that's a different thing. When you're talking
entirely.
Inheritance,
it's all part of the. It all affects the larger economic situation.
Like,
don't forget what we're talking about. How to survive in this economy.
As we're sitting here, you can go out there, maybe go to Bayongo, even as far as Lafia, and hire a piece of land.
How many women can do that?
A lot of women do it.
How many women can do that?
So
they do
what
it.
we are saying, if we are talking about
because
inheritance,
you need money to hire. You need money to hire.
Like we said, Awani, we said that women are the major farmers.
Yes.
In the Middle Belt.
Agreed.
If there was any cultural negativity against them, they will not be able to farm.
No,
Am I right?
That's not what we're saying.
You are right there, but
yes,
again,
the economic factor of it we have not looked at the ending point, because we're talking about a situation where your husband owns the land. So you may be farming, but at the end of the day, when you sell...
You are talking about married women now.
You are talking about... It's not even about married women.
I'm talking about women in general. I'm talking about...
When you say husband owns the land...
let's not mix it up. We're talking about culture.
Yes.
That's majorly in this place, in the north central. Yes, particularly in Benue, where we come from.
In the middle...
I have a younger brother who is a cabinet maker. We are talking survival, right?
Of course, now.
The guy has not been into four walls of a classroom. In fact, anytime they will beat him to go to school and he will still run back. He said he doesn't want to go to school. He wants to learn a trade. And now he is doing cabinet making. And if you go to him and you want a living room set, for instance, or maybe a bedroom set which includes dressing mirrors and things like that, he charges you close to $1 million. And if you don't pay, you don't get it. And this is somebody who has not been to school. When we come and we are saying, like in the past, when salaries were not regular, and we sit at home complaining, you say, that's your business. Because he doesn't depend on any government. He is his own boss. He is his own boss. And anytime we go there and we want anything done, we will have to pay. There is no
like I myself personally, I know how to survive in a tough economy like this. Yeah, because I learned a trade, sewing. Even though I don't sew for people personally, I sew for myself. So I know how much I save from sewing my own clothes, from making fashion for myself. I know how much I save. So likewise, so
and
many.
I tell you, you really look glamorous.
So many other people like that are surviving, you know. But the mistake most people make, or most youthful people make in the middle belt, is I went to the four walls of a school. I don't need to do any menial job. How can I go and be a vulcanizer? How can I go and be a tailor? How can I go and be cooking, mama put and all that? But it puts food on your table. Like I always tell my children, I say there is no shame in making money. There is no shame. So far you are making your money out of it. There is no shame in it. Throw your pride to the wind. Throw your degree to the dustbin. Because like some people say school is a scam, though even though it is not. But the reality on the ground is that you have to live up to expectation for yourself and your family. So if there is a trade, like my daughter, she learned shoemaking. She makes shoes. She sells online. She has a lot of customers that order from her. She read biotech in the university, but she is into shoemaking. So, you know, you can learn tailoring, you can learn hairdressing, you can make fast food from your own kitchen and sell.
Fast food there.
You see, that is why I admire people from the East. They do everything to make money,
I'm a
to survive.
But you have tasted my fish. And because I've added a bit of what I learned in school. So all the additives, the things that the normal roadside fish roaster doesn't know, I know how to make sauces like 1,000 Island sauce. I know how to make the fish extra tasty and handle it hygienically.
And you have your own restaurant that you're running as a side business.
Everyone is here advertising. Let me also advertise.
No, we are talking survival strategies for him.
I'm agreeing.
Yeah.
So, yes. Me, I sew my own clothes. As a matter of fact, this pair of pants was made by my little girl, a staff of mine. And I'm wearing it really comfortable. It's really nice, very comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm telling her, you know what, we can do more of this. You can put it online, you know. So I totally want to agree with everything we're saying. That we're saying survival in today's economy is not about certificates. If I get you right,
it's not.
It's not about white collar.
No,
if I get you right.
Neither is it about government policies.
Okay, it's not about government policies.
Yes, it isn't.
Right? So here's the thing: how do we get our people to develop a new mindset, which is what this show is all about, to change mindsets?
Entrepreneurship development should be introduced in schools.
But already they're happening. But I can tell you for free that young people still is not sitting well on them, because even we as parents, we have a fault in this thing. Go to school, get a degree, you know, go to school, get a school. I remember that in my days, my father, just seeing the way at that time retirement was something to look forward to.
Oh yes.
But I still wasn't pleased, because it wasn't easy after retirement. Let me just put it that way. So I sort of felt that shouldn't be my focus. I should be able to do something else. But that mindset of, you know what, when you go to school, you get a degree, the next thing you should do is work.
And another point,
do white collar.
And another point is about retirees. Once they retire from the civil service, they just sit at home and tie wrapper.
All their wealth of experience.
And be tying wrapper and not do anything. Being a retiree doesn't mean that that is the end of your life. It's not the end of your life. You can have other things to do. You can educate the younger folks. You can give them your wealth of experience. You know, teach them how to survive. Not necessarily that you have to, when you retire, you don't do anything. You can learn certain skills as well. You know, that builds up the economy, slow and steady.
As a matter of fact, sorry, I'm not cutting you. So people retire with a lot of knowledge in certain areas. Like, you've been a journalist all your life. You're practicing law, right? I have been a journalist all my life, all my work life. That's what I mean by all our lives, you know. And then, like, you've been cooking all your life as a girl, you know, as a lady. So we all have been doing that all our life. So why would anybody think that after you've had a go at maybe the white collar job opportunities,
that's the end of your life?
The end of your life. You
get frustrated.
You can't even choose one of those things that you're good at. You have people who are engineers from maybe the works department, right? Who are builders. You have architects, but because they're going back home to go and expect some stipend from your basic salary, which is what you live with when you're retired, everybody goes to sleep. Should we? So, what kind of mindsets in engineering should we do? Like, of course, let's all agree that there's a time to retire.
There is, definitely.
I mean, and when you, but how I say it now is that you don't completely ever retire in life, because once you do, you start to disintegrate, you know. But then how do we, you know, change our mindset to reflect the realities of this moment? I know that maybe in other countries of the world, you have people who are saying, you know what, as a matter of fact, I met a proprietress of a school about a few days ago, and she said to me, I left, but I had to come back to work. I came back to work because now I can see people, I can relate to people, I'm working, so my mind is awake. So she suffered a loss, like the loss of a spouse.
But do you know what? Civil service, I would say, especially what we call white collar jobs, government jobs, you are answerable to somebody. But when you become your own boss, you tend to have your own you tend to have your own hours. You do things at your own time and maybe put in more. But the sad thing about it is that maybe the government takes more of your productive years. You are 60 before you leave, and 60 is not
it's not beans.
It's not 60. It's not man.
So what's the solution to all this is especially geared towards the retirees. They should give them basic training for afterlife. Like in acquiring some basic skills. For example, maybe you as a journalist, you can be trained in publishing books. You understand? Journals and all that. I, as a lawyer, when I retire, or when no, lawyers never retire. But if I say I'm tired of practicing law, I can write books with my vast experience in law practice, which keeps me very occupied, which is another economic which adds another economic value to my life. Likewise, any other person can do it. You as a journalist, you can set up training schools, and also as a lawyer, of course, you can write books as well. So what I'm trying to say is, being a retiree or being old doesn't mean that you stop acquiring skills in life. Likewise, young people, let them not think because I have a degree. Though it should not be all about negativity. Nigerians are said to be the smartest people in the world. We adapt very easily. We know how to adapt. Once situation becomes there, Nigerians will adapt. like the present situation as it is. You expect if it's other countries, there is war already. But Nigerians know how to adapt. We'll formulate something that, you know, will come up and we are already, like young people, they can go on the net, produce their own programs, which a lot of them are doing, which I'm very, very happy about.
Very negative about it.
But they shouldn't. Yes, they shouldn't be. I'm not saying you should do Yahoo Yahoo. You can go on YouTube, produce programs, you know, towards your mates and all that. Content creation and all that. You know, create something like Oyibos. Oyibos can sell anything from their houses. I used to work for one Filipino woman. She sews her dress, then when she sews it, she will go and hang it, and we'll be buying from her.
That's what they do.
There is no shame in making money, no matter how many.
Let's get something straight here so that nobody thinks we're here trying to downplay our degrees and say keep them aside.
No, I say degrees are very important. We already emphasized that.
Let's agree that when you get a let's not even use degree because it's not all about degrees. A certificate, you know, because Nigeria, we are always very hot on certification for everything. Right?
Yes,
but then getting an advanced knowledge from maybe your elementary or secondary school days or something simply even puts you in that place where you can negotiate better. You know, so you don't. But at the end of the day, that's
so a degree is actually necessary because it opens up your mind.
I'm saying don't use degree, use certification.
Okay.
Because not everybody's going to get a degree. Not everybody. If you have a diploma or an HND, I'm saying you have improved your
like our parents will say you must get that degree whether you like it or not.
That is the mistake some parents make.
Yes, you know.
Some parents will decide for their children. My son must be a doctor. My daughter must be a lawyer. They don't care the capacity of the brain.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that doctor will come and
see. We are not saying that all that is not important. It's very important. Get it, because it will help you in your businesses, in your various businesses, negotiations, contracts, and all that.
And give you confidence.
And give you confidence.
As a person. Yeah.
So, getting an education is very important. Let's not even downplay that.
You're watching us, and it's the Bridge Show. So we have beautiful ladies here trying to look at what the issues or how surviving in the North Central today is, our realities as North Central Nigerians. That's what we're talking about. We've looked at how we are coping with the situation, what we can do. We've looked extensively at that. Now, what is the future? What is the future you see for Benue? And what is the future you want to paint for
the middle belt?
For the middle belt. What can we do to maximize? We say it's little. We think we don't have ports. Like when you started the show, you talked about not having, being kind of landlocked or something, or not having ports. You know, like the big, we have a river, but it's not dredged. Not so we're even in the center, so we're connected to the north, east, south and west. So that's a huge advantage that we have. We have a fantastic land,
and if we're
talking fertile land that you throw things on.
If we're talking about the North Central, all the states in the North Central, they are peculiar for one thing or the other. Like we say, Plateau has a lot of tourism facilities. Yes. They have waterfalls. They have precious stones that can be mined. You know, they have
even
wildlife.
Even Benue,
you know, because they developed it.
Yes,
they developed it.
And at Benue, we have the advantage of our river. We are in the Benue Valley. The land is very fertile for everything, and Taraba has. You know, we get a lot of fish from Taraba. Our river has been desecrated by refuse.
Yeah.
We have to go to Kogi to get fish, but thank God Kogi is also in the North Central. And Kwara, you go to that length to go and get fish. We have everything. The only thing is development.
So how do we harness those resources?
So like we say, the Middle Belt is an agrarian society. So we produce a lot of food, but that food is being wasted because you go to some of the village market, you see orange is wasting away.
Oh my
you
dear
see,
sister. We went somewhere.
you see mangoes wasting away. So what I'm trying to say,
these people come to buy. They will tell the farmers to pluck oranges, over 30 bags, and sometimes they don't come. You know, these vehicles don't turn up.
So such products are wasting away. Seriously, they are wasting away. So the solution to such wastage is for us, there's an industrial complex in Benue State, but it's lying idle. No investment. No investment. That's the basic issue. So we should invest more in production and not in consumption. Benue can produce the whole of Nigerians' food.
When you say that, I don't want to accept that.
That is the basic fact.
Focus, because we
that
should
is
just do what we can.
So,
but let's not go with this mindset of we are the only ones farming, because some people have even.
Of course, we may not be the only ones farming, but we produce most of. Forget it. Forget it.
Nasarawa is in the north central.
I agree, but I'm saying.
All of them.
She's talking about.
Me, I'm talking particularly about Benue, where I come
she's
from.
Talking particularly about
yes, which is fine. Which is fine. Which is fine. We produce a lot of food. Nobody can deny that.
But let's not forget about the exchange that should happen between the states.
That is what I'm saying. So, like, I'm using Benue as an example. I'm not saying other states don't farm. I'm just
No, I agree.
I'm just using it as an example. We produce a lot of goods, so we should also invest in refining those goods instead of them going to waste. That's one thing. So the government should look towards that area. Food processing. Set up industrial complexes where they produce all these things. Instead of importing and all that.
So we talk about government every day. Should it be a matter for government only?
Because
maybe government has a side in policy, but what can the individual do? Because I like us to look at the individual, the people. On the side of the people, what are we doing? For example, the people can come together and have cooperatives. The cooperatives can now seek loans in institutions, financial institutions, of course. That's a story for another day.
That's another story for another day.
Are they actually loaning people money?
That is a story for another day.
About value chain. When they borrow these monies, do they pay back, or do they use them for what the purposes
that's another story for another day. What we are talking is investment. Both individual and government should invest in the
individual. And I want to lay it at the doorstep of the people. Let's not forget that the people have a huge
and most of these farmers are illiterates. Some of them are semi-illiterates, some of them are illiterates. They produce most of this food. So if there is an intervention on their behalf, go to them, educate them. If you produce this, we are ready to invest, reproduce it for you, refine it for you. They will be so encouraged. Or whereby you go to a village market, yams are wasted, oranges are wasted. Cassavas are not even being wasted anymore because there is somebody already refining cassava around. But
there's a good market for that.
So
and even that has made the apple price go up, because if you want to buy a small bag of apple now, they will tell you thousands of naira.
So like you're saying, instead of individual farmers farming, they should form cooperatives. Come together, pull their resources together, and set up a machinery where they can buy seedlings, where they can buy machines, where they can also have a marketing arm that markets their products for them outside.
Exactly. So those are all chains.
Remember
in an economy.
Yes.
I remember a North Central Sun introduced this import export something.
On yams.
Even there's a bank.
Remember the former minister Chief Agogwe, he actually even started exportation of yam, but we heard that didn't quite happen because of certain issues that happened with the storage and all that.
Also, our educational institutions have a lot to do, like agricultural universities. They have a lot of interventions to do, particularly with these low-income farmers. They can do interventions for them because they have access to World Bank programs.
Yeah.
They can use those platforms to help these low-income farmers to, give their best.
That keeps bringing me to this next thing. Nigeria export something bank.
Exporting import.
Afrexim or whatever. There's a bank that was particularly interested in empowering farmers for export and for things like that. But I don't know what has happened to it.
Yeah. So, how about you mentioned something like, so we have an educational advantage in Benue. We have a lot of schools here. We have the river. What else? What can we do apart from people just streaming in, or maybe the indigents or people around catchment area coming to school here? That's our educational system.
That's another aspect. There is educational tourism. A lot of middle beltons are very, very educated. Yes, 90% of them are educated, even up to the rural areas. Let me put it that way. We are very educated. It's just that census has not been taken within Benue to see how viable our educational system is. But a lot of foreigners come into Benue and take advantage of our educational system. So educational tourism is another source of income that will generate jobs for our youths in the middle belt.
Tapping into that enough, like researchers? We're talking here now. We have not been able to mention a research opportunity, or rather people who are conducting research in different areas of our economy. That, of course, they are there in our institutions, but we have not moved them out of the institutions. So that's another angle.
That's another angle.
That's another angle entirely.
That's another angle.
We're going to look at subsequently.
Yes.
Now, what about the river? We have this opportunity of having a God-given river, a gift of nature to man, which we have not explored.
When they were talking about river port, dredging the river, doing all these things, we were all very excited because I know what potential the river has. If it's big,
name the potentials. That's
if
what I
it's
want us to
dredged,
do.
you understand? Ships can come in from we have Atlantic Ocean, we have River Niger, which is neighboring.
Why don't we even have something as basic as beaches in our river sides?
That may
because that's another tourist attraction, isn't it?
You're even talking about river within Benue. Generally, we are talking about the middle belt. But since you mentioned river, the river can be dredged for economic purposes. And why I say that is because our Nigerian economy is based on importation. We import everything, especially fish. In those days, when I was young, we used to buy all our fish. You remember from River Benue? But now that is no longer possible because you can't even find fresh fish anymore.
It's now a pond.
Pond fish.
Genetically modified.
Genetically modified fishes that you find in the market. So I went to the riverside one day and I asked the fishermen, I said, are you no longer fishing? What they told me was that they were being taxed. Very high taxes just to fish from the river. So why should they bother? That people supply fishes from them from Ibadan.
Cheaper.
From very cheap rates. So they no longer fish. They only fish for their families.
And I was even told the fish from Ibadan is even bigger than the one that is produced.
So that is another aspect. Before, Benue used to be known for fishes, fresh river fishes. But that side of it is no longer possible. So if the government can look into the area whereby they come together with the fishermen and have a plan on how to dredge the river to make it possible to derive economic benefits from the river. That's another aspect.
And
also they can use, the river is connected to Lokoja, Abi.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
So you can
as a confluence state.
You can instead of people traveling by road all the time, they can use the river as a means of transportation. That's another economic aspect completely.
Yes.
And I passed through Lokoja one time, crossing the river Niger at the axis of Lokoja. I discovered that You know, and the same thing in Taraba. All these roadside markets, I mean riverside markets, they constitute a lot of hazard to the environment.
Yes.
Because they dump their refuse in the water. And when fish will not grow
in such an atmosphere,
environment. Now, sadly, when they need fish, they have to go to Kogi or as far as even Kwara to get fish, or Taraba. I see Taraba still smokes their fish. I've not seen, like in Makodi, where we are, which is the state capital.
They no longer
we have Wadata markets.
But they don't do that.
They have Wurukum market. All these markets, Abete, they are all situated along the river.
Yes.
And they dump their refuse in the water. And that is not too good.
That's an environmental issue. We're going to be doing climate change.
And I would personally, if I had any position in government, I would move every market that is along the riverside away from there. Because if not,
improve the river.
Improve the river.
Yeah.
If not, in a few years we'll only be showing our children, our grandchildren fish in pictures.
Yes.
God forbid.
I would advise people, I mean, especially our upcoming ones, not to depend only on that paper qualification. Because there are so many schools and so little jobs.
Yes.
So if you learn to train yourself in something that you like doing, and you do it very well, then you will survive in this environment. And we're women.
And we are surviving.
Some of our women, you know, and my friend retired, and she has a small shop. She has a deep freezer. She sells water. She sells biscuits. She sells gari and groundnuts. And she has different courses where she drops gari money, pure water money, and you know she's saving up to 30,000.
That is multiple streams of income.
Yeah, multiple streams of income. So don't be ashamed of
what you are doing.
Whatever you're doing that is putting food on your table. We've looked at it.
Yeah.
Don't be dependent on your paper qualification. Improve yourself, all right, but don't depend on it. Look for anything to do, legitimate means of legitimate livelihood that you can survive in.
Also government.
And also we have government on the policy side. We didn't discuss that, but we know that there's a lot government can do. We looked a bit at what government can do, and we're going to be looking more at what they will do in terms of policies to improve the lives of the people. But then basically we're saying that survival in this country today depends on the individual. Are you ready? Am I ready? We on the Bridge Show, we're ready to take ourselves there mentally, and then we'll move out of the show to do the rest, practically. I think it's a wrap on the Bridge Show today. North Central perspective on issues of survival as far as the current economic realities are concerned. So, and we've had my co-hosts, all of us looking at the issues. We're seeing that we actually have issues to deal with. The issue of survival is a problem. People are poor, people are struggling, we're all struggling one way or the other, but there's hope. You've been watching The Bridge Show, a program of Roots Media Initiative, a non-governmental, non-profit organization. So it's been nice having you all the way. Tune in again soon. We'll be back with you. On behalf of my co-hosts, what do you say to our people?
Bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bye.